Today on the Stay at Home Chef, I'm showing you how to make easy, classic crème brûlée. I wanted to make sure that my recipe for crème brûlée was as easy as possible for the home cook while staying true to the classic method. To start, you'll want to preheat an oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and then next you'll need some 6-ounce ramekins. You'll want to place 6 of these into the bottom of something like a roasting pan, whatever you can find that fits, because we're going to fill this up with water to create a water bath later while it bakes. Honestly, that water bath and just getting it into the oven is probably the most difficult part of this recipe. We're keeping it super easy. For the actual crème brûlée custard, you're going to need 8 egg yolks. So we'll separate out 8 eggs and place the 8 yolks into a large mixing bowl. There are several ways to separate eggs. You can go back and forth from shell to shell like I'm doing right now. You can use a little tool called an egg separator, or you can even just run it through your fingers to separate out the whites. Whichever method works best for you will be fine. Don't worry too much about perfection, just remove as much of the whites as possible. Then we'll add half a cup of granulated sugar to our yolks and use a hand mixer to beat this together. Now when you first start mixing, you'll have this deep yolky yellow color, but you want to mix it for a good 2 minutes until the mixture is a more pale yellow color and the mixture almost looks like satin. Then we're going to pour in 2 cups of heavy cream. Then you'll need either 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, or if you want to be really fancy, you can use a vanilla bean pod. If you're using the vanilla bean, you'll want to split it down the center so you can access the little seeds inside. Then you can run the back of your knife down the center and scrape out all those seeds and place them in with your custard mixture. There's nothing wrong with using vanilla extract, but sometimes you just want to be a little fancy and use a vanilla bean. Then we just need to mix in that cream and eggs and vanilla until combined about 1 minute. You don't want to whip too long, otherwise the cream will start to aerate and whip up. Then it's a good idea to pour this through a fine mesh strainer to remove any eggy chunks that might be there. And I like to pour mine into a measuring cup to make it easier to divide it into those little ramekins. Then we're going to fill each ramekin about 3/4 of the way full. These are about 1 inch tall, so we'll leave about 1/4 of an inch with room at the top. Now I warned you that the water bath was the hardest part of the recipe, and it's time to put it together. Crème brûlée bakes best when the ramekin is surrounded by water. It helps it bake a little more evenly. So you'll need some water. You want to pour the water in very carefully. I like to go towards an edge and an open spot because you can't get any water into the dish where the crème brûlée is. You just want to surround the dishes with water at least halfway up the ramekin. Now that part really isn't too bad. The real hard part is now transferring this to the oven without sloshing the water into the ramekins. Just move nice and slowly and carefully, no sudden movements, because you don't want that water to slosh. Then we're going to bake this in the 300-degree oven for about 45 minutes until they're set. They should have just a slight jiggle in the center. Then you'll work in reverse and carefully remove that pan very slowly out of the oven and set it aside and let those ramekins cool in the water bath for 1 hour. After an hour, you can gently remove each ramekin from the water and dry off the bottom and place it on a little tray because we're going to refrigerate these. I'm not going to lie, my hand slipped and I lost one of my crème brûlées, but what can you do? We're filming. You'll want to cover these with plastic wrap so they don't absorb any flavors from the fridge or dry out or get crusty. You'll just want to make sure that the plastic doesn't touch the actual crème brûlée. Then you'll want to pop these in the fridge and let them chill for at least 4 hours before serving. They can stay good in the fridge for up to 3 to 4 days. Then it's time for the fun part, the brûlée, where we melt some sugar. You'll sprinkle on about a tablespoon of sugar. You can use regular sugar, superfine sugar, or even brown sugar onto the top of each custard. The traditional way to melt your sugar is to use a kitchen torch, but I'll also show you how to use the broiler setting in your oven. You'll want to start in the middle and melt the sugar in the middle first, and then kind of work in a swirling circular motion to melt all that sugar until it's a nice golden brown. Look at it go. Just slowly work your way towards those edges. Give it a couple seconds to cool off, and then it should have a nice hard shell on top. You should always brulee the sugar right before serving, otherwise this will soften up and get soggy. Then if we've done our job correctly, you'll be able to tap it and it should be nice and hard on top, and then we can crack into it. It's almost like little pieces of glass. Oh, look at that. Perfect creme brulee. It's so good. But if you don't have a kitchen torch, you can just use a broiler. For that, sprinkle some sugar on top, and I have mine on a baking sheet so I can just slide it into the oven. Now the broiler setting is a top-down cooking method, so you'll want to move the upper rack so that you can get your creme brulee about 3 to 4 inches away from the heating element. Then we'll slide in our creme brulee and watch them super closely because this will only take 1 to 2 minutes. It's not quite as even as the torch, but if you just move your pan around slightly, you should be able to melt that sugar. It's a lot easier to burn your sugar using the broiler method, but it will work in a pinch. And that's it. You are ready to eat. Thanks for watching. You can find the full written recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow, and check out the rest of my videos, where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes you can easily make at home. See you later.